So this is interesting. I got where I was going, and I loaded up my car. So there it is. There's the culprit of all my troubles with the noise, and there it is there when I'm trying to haul. And this is interesting because I have this button depressed. The air circulation right now, like it's not blowing AC, but even though the car is off, the air is circulating. So I wonder if I turn this off. Yep. So that is what this button does. All right. Heading back to Illinois. So I've just visited my first dine-in restaurant in probably 3.5 months. I'm already heading back to Chicago. I am currently right here, Michigan City, Indiana. So I already crossed into Indiana border from Michigan. This Denny's, which was almost empty, there was maybe 3 or 4 tables occupied. But man, Denny's never tasted so good from being, in restaurant quarantine for a lot of months. It tasted really good, and I always like Denny's, so got a lot of bug splatter all over the place. Currently going on 367 miles in a Prius. Already got some gas. Gas is cheap. It does not use a lot of gas. But the more I think about it, about this car, the Prius, compared to a town car or any other vehicle for that matter, I guess the question here is, how much are you willing to sacrifice to get good gas mileage? And in this case, it's again, don't know how much of that you'll be able to see, but oh, wait a minute. Nope. This display right there, I think. Yeah, so my consumption over 367 miles is 46.4 with an average being, with an average speed being 58 miles an hour. So there you go. So I am averaging on a highway going 70, 75, sometimes 80, 46.4 miles a gallon. So the gas mileage, I mean, look, it's more than double of a Lincoln Town Car. But once again, I have to ask myself a question. How much am I willing to sacrifice to get that good gas mileage? Because ultimately, this car, that's all it does. It does this one thing very well. I've played around with these buttons, and I realized that for any decent highway driving, I would need to use this power mode. Now, this power mode makes the engine and the transmission really squeal really high, but it has decent power. This eco mode really neuters it. Now, it neuters it more than your average neutering that's happening with this car. This EV mode, which I think right now might actually turn on, there you go. So the EV mode just turned on. So hypothetically, I could be coasting for a little bit under just the battery power alone. I'm gonna try that just to see how far I can get. And ultimately, I didn't realize that, but you can actually turn all of them off. So you can turn off everything, and then the car is going to be kind of in the neutral mode, which I have a feeling is going to be somewhere in between these two. But going in the eco mode, man, 46.4 miles a gallon on the highway. It's not a very comfortable drive. So like I said, everything in this vehicle is a sacrifice. I also found out that this leather right here and the leather right here in the seats, which just so happen to be the same color of my pants, it's different leather. This is much more coarse. This is much more soft. And this is the same leather that's on this armrest right up here. So it's weird that one car would use two different types of leather, but this leather is much softer and nicer. And also this other thing that I realized, so this does make an excellent phone holder right here, this pseudo cup holder. So this armrest is actually quite nice. This armrest is useless because it's way too low. I can't realistically drive this car with this armrest. Anyway, I think I'm going to be wrapping up. So, got Denny's. I'm happy. I'm in a little breakfast coma right now. Got a lot of bugs. Probably got another EV mode deactivated. Oh, wow. Low battery. That's interesting. Oh, so just sitting here. So I have the car started with the AC because it's really hot. It's 84 degrees outside. And so I guess the engine didn't kick in. So let's see. Yeah, so I'm using, so I used up in the 4 minutes, almost 5 minutes, I drained that battery. Okay. So anyway, I'll be heading home. Might pop in with a few extra shots of Chicago. So I couldn't help to notice an extra feature here, which I knew existed before, which is that B setting on the shifter, which I do have it set in the B, and that's a regenerative brakes. So basically what it does when it's in the B mode, I don't know if you guys can hear this, but it making like a droning sound. So basically what it does, it applies brakes ever so gently. Oh wow, look at that truck pulling a giant trailer. It applies brakes ever so gently and kind of slows it down, and thus putting more energy back into the battery. So I've been driving it like this, and I was hoping that this was going to be something along the lines of, you know, being able to drive with just one foot. But no, it doesn't work that way. The speed, once again, I know this sucks. You guys can't see anything. The speed does get scrubbed off a little bit quicker, but in that feature, the brakes are just, I don't know, they're unnatural. Like they're turning into like a piece of rubber, where it just, I mean, in the city, probably, once again, I mentioned this before, the more I drive it, the more I realize that this car is for city driving, and it's for somebody who only cares about saving gas. Doesn't care about styling, doesn't care about noise, doesn't care about history, doesn't care about steering feel, car feel, doesn't really care about anything, but their main focus is to get from A to B with the least amount of fuel used. And in this regard, this car does extremely well, and there's millions of people who bought one of these things. See, I got a police right up front, so I am not filming. Yeah. So we had a little cop there on the side of the road, so I had to hide my phone, because otherwise they would have got me for using a cell phone while driving. So I don't want that. Anyway, yeah, so what I was saying is, this person doesn't care about really anything, doesn't care about luxury, although this car is, it's got a sunroof, and it's got heated seats way down there. Yeah, so, got another maybe 60 miles to go. So here's an interesting view going back into the city from Indiana. This I'm passing right now, that's our McCormick place. I think it's the biggest convention center in North America. I love that view. We saw that view from the other side as I was going towards Indiana into Michigan. Still love that view. That hasn't changed. The noise coming from the back from my cart has not changed either. So we are almost home. Yay! So I am back where I started. I've covered 435.7 miles. I've consumed an average consumption of 46.2 miles per gallon, with an average speed of 55 miles per hour. Wow, there's a very sweet Lincoln Continental right there on the same parking lot. So what else? I mean, yeah, that's a trip. I will be totaling up all the gas receipts that I got from this trip, which is actually only 2. And so far, this has been interesting. I can also share this now that I'm back and can get out. From my experience, this solar battery thing, the solar charging panel that circulates the air inside the car, that's pretty much useless because it's circulating, unair-conditioned air. So, yeah, I mean, I experienced it on my trip in one of the segments, but definitely it's not worth it. I don't understand what's the point of it. Oh, look at this bug or something that just splattered all over. Wow. So I can tell you this is the longest time I've spent in a Prius. I've already summed up my thoughts about how it functions well as an appliance to save gas, which, it's definitely more than double the gas consumption on the highway of a Lincoln Town Car. But it's also not very enjoyable to drive on the highway. It's way better suited for city driving. And yeah, that doesn't make it a bad car, just makes it a specifically tooled to a purpose, to a specific purpose, that is. Well, I don't know how many of you will enjoy watching this, but I've enjoyed taking this trip. It took almost the entire workday for me. And thank you all for all your views and your subscribes and comments, and I'll see you next time.